Hello viewers, welcome back. We will continue where we left off in the previous video. If you recall, in the previous video, we set up the equipment, the camera, the DS-USB, the GPS, and we picked the eclipse that we want to capture. In this video, we'll move forward from the eclipse. What I have right now is I've picked the August 12th, 26 eclipse, which passes through Spain, Iceland, and Greenland. I'm gonna start with picking a location. So there are many ways to add a location on the Eclipse tab. First and the most intuitive way is to click on the map. Let's say I want to pick a location close to the center line. So I want to go here and I want to pick this location. And I have no idea whether it's practically possible to do it or not, but oh, this looks nice. This is a nice little intersection, which is pretty close from the center line. So I'm going to pick this location, right? And I'm going to click on Add Location. The nice thing about this pop-up is you can see the coordinates of this location. Now I click Add, and as soon as I click Add, I see this tile show up. Now I'm going to give this a name. I want to say Eclipse centerline location. As you can see, the coordinates pop up automatically. The altitude as well pops up, which is nice. And then you want to probably pick the recommended time zone, which is fine. And we can deep dive into the time zones in a separate video. Okay. Now, once I pick the location, when I select the location, you can see that the contact times pop up. And I'm going to move this video up here. As you can see, the contact times C1, C2, Max, C3, and C4 pop up. You can see that the contact times are in universal time as well as GMT. Important thing, you would want to apply limb corrections. Limb corrections essentially takes the true solar radius. I usually pick photospheric, and I would recommend picking geometric limb correction. I'll do a deep dive on the details of solar radius and limb correction in a separate video. So you can see when you applied the solar radius and limb correction, there are corrections in the contact times. And this is good. Okay, so now you have a sense of what the contact times look for. The next thing you'd want to do is generate a script. But before we generate a script, I'd like to take you to a quick live view feature, which is pretty nice. Since I have two cameras connected, I can pick what camera I want to do a live view on. I'm gonna go with the Nikon camera. There you go. And yeah, you can see the table under which my camera lives. You can also zoom in, zoom out, and so on and so forth. The nice thing about live view is it offers focus capabilities. So let's do this. I'm gonna try and focus this camera. Okay. I'm gonna move the focus ring, and there you go. You see, as you get sharper focus, you get a nice audio cue as well. Now, you can also pick a specific area for focus, which is pretty useful when you're trying to focus on the solar limb. Okay, so there you go. So if I zoom out, the peak goes away, but if I change the focus, and there you go, you're back. So this is going to help you achieve accurate focus. Typically, focusing is done in partial phases of the solar eclipse, where you want to focus on sunspots or the edge of the sun. Right, I'm going to stop live view here, And you can pretty much do the same thing with your Canon as well. All right, now let's go back to script. All right, this is where the fun begins. With your equipment connected and with your solar eclipse selected, I now want to generate a script. Now, the script is what tells the camera and the software when to execute your captures. So we'll go ahead, pick the location that you selected earlier. You can also go ahead and add in your location. You can also use your GPS. And on Eclipse Day, you probably want to pick GPS. I'll do a separate video on what to do on Eclipse Day. All right, so for now I'm picking the eclipse contact time. Yes, I want lunar limb profile corrections, and I proceed. Okay, now I'm gonna name it as you can name it anything you want. You can give a brief description. This is where you would want to configure your optics. For example, my Canon 5D is connected to a 400 millimeter telescope with an f ratio of f5.6, and I'm gonna leave the ISO at 100. All right, it is a full frame camera, so no crop factor is applied. Based on these values, the computed exposures for the different phenomena are populated here. So for prominences, you probably want 1/2000th of a second. For Bailey speeds, 1/8000th of a second, and so on. Now these values also take into consideration the maximum shutter speed that your camera body allows. So if you have a camera that offers lesser shutter speed, these values will get updated accordingly. Finally, there is also a recommended exposure for partial phases with the solar filter that you've picked. In this case, I'm getting 1/250th of a second. Now, all of these values assume clear skies. We'll do a separate video on what to do for cloudy conditions. All right. Again, I'm gonna keep the filter selected as ND 5.0 because I have the 1000 Oaks solar filter. All right, now this is important. Connection type. You have the option to choose serial, cable, shutter, or USB. As you can see, the latencies in USB are much higher. So it's almost always better to grab your pictures with the serial cable. Now you must understand the capabilities and limitations of the serial cable. The serial cable essentially is a dumb trigger. It'll just do the thing that it's designed for. When you click the serial cable, the camera will just take pictures. It'll take pictures at the settings the camera was set prior to clicking of the pictures. So if your camera was set to 1/1000th shutter speed at ISO 100, then that's what the serial cable will do. eclipseClick has a unique way of communicating to the cameras. When your camera is connected with USB and serial cable, all the exposure settings, shutter settings, ISO are communicated to the camera over USB, but the actual pictures are always taken by the serial cable. And we'll see a demo of that in the next video. So I'm going to proceed. Now, I select the phenomena that I want to capture. The wizard correctly picks up the camera burst rate of 3 frames per second for my Canon. Based on that, it comes up with a recommended set of captures for the different phenomena. I probably don't want 8 diamond rings. I'll probably go down to 6. And if you expand this section, you can see the recommended shutter speed, aperture, ISO, and the type. You can override these at any point. I would say stick with the recommended. Next, Bailey's beads. I probably want to go higher. I know I can go higher with my camera. Sphere, I want to go higher. Prominences, I want to go higher. And again, you can, if you look at, expand the settings, you will see shutter speed 8000, 1 by 8000, and aperture 5.6, and so on and so forth. Corona. The corona bracketing is interesting. When you expand the corona tile, you can see that the corona captures are done over brackets. What that means is you have 5 bracket steps for taking a set of inner corona pictures. The first exposure will always start with 1 by 1/25th of a second, and then it'll perform 2 stops down. You can change the EV step, the step up or step down based on your preferences. 2 is fine. You can go down to 1 if you prefer, or you can go higher if you prefer. I like to keep it as true. And so what this is going to do is it's going to generate a set of 5 exposures in decreasing shutter speed. Each exposure 2 steps slower than the previous. I want to say I probably want to do 2 sets of inner corona, given that the eclipse is probably going to last 1 minute 45 seconds, 1 minute 50 seconds. I wanted to maybe 2 auto corona exposures. Now, auto corona exposures is going to be a lot slower, starting with 1/4 of a second and stepping down into 5 brackets. Finally, Earthshine. I probably don't want to go more than one Earthshine. And finally, at C3, now these phenomenon were at C2. Then you take the corona, and then towards C3, you have the option to pick the number of prominences, chromospheres, Bailey beads, diamond rings. And then, of course, the partial phases. Approaching totality, yeah, sure, I want to take probably not more than 2. First contact and fourth contact, and then partial phase, let's say I want to capture every 5 minutes. Overall, I'm looking at 82 captures with a totality window of 92 seconds. All right, there you go. Now this gives you a nice visual of the captures. And you can break down the visual into 2 parts. Totality part, just the totality part, and the full eclipse. You can see the full eclipse starts with C1, C2 somewhere around here, and then C4. And you can see that a lot of captures are within the C2 to C3 period. So you can zoom in into the captures at around C2 and C3. And you can see that your diamond rings captures start a little bit before in the window that's marked by DR, followed by Bailey's beads right before C2, and then chromosphere right after C2, followed by prominences right after chromosphere. And then you capture your series of coronas. Okay, so you have 2 sets of inner coronas and 2 sets of outer coronas in these time ranges. Next, you have the Earthshine, and finally the reverse order of C2 phenomenon at C3. So you start with prominences, chromosphere, then C3, and then Bailey's beads, and then diamond rings. And then this view shows the sequence of events. It also shows you minor adjustments. So the script wizard is intelligent enough to say, hey, you have too many captures too close to each other. Your camera needs some buffer time. So it auto adjusts these. And then, okay, so you click continue and then you save. All right, now you have a saved script. You can download it so that you can import it later to a different device if you wish to. one last thing I wanted to show about script is this little feature. It's pretty nifty. It shows you an exaggerated view of the path that the moon will take. So, for example, this is C1, C2, it's max, C3, and C4. And what you see at C2 and C3 is an exaggerated limb profile. Now, obviously, the mountains and the valleys of the moon are not this exaggerated, so you can adjust that. This is just for visual. So you can see as you zoom in, let's see, it kind of gives you a sense of how the limb profiles gives rise to Bailey speeds. So you see close to C2, these last bits of light escapes through in between the tall mountains and the valleys, and that's how you get Bailey speeds. Just a little fun thing. And you can, obviously update the limb as you see fit. This is probably real. Right. If you were curious what realistic looks like, this is probably it. Okay, that's all I have for this video. In the next video, we'll look at execution of the script. All right, thank you for watching.